All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching and welcome. My name is Duke. Today we're going to talk about the ever-present question. When should I pay off my debt? And in what quantities? Should I overpay? Should I pay every dollar that I have? Should I do the debt snowball or the debt, whatever the other one is that Dave Ramsey always talks about? Should I even listen to Dave Ramsey? Should I go into debt to buy investments? Well, here's the deal. The answer to all of those questions is, it depends. And it's all about the math. So let's get into it. Got my whiteboard here. All right. So, as an example, let's say that you have $20,000 in student loan debt, for example, and or actually, let's do credit card. Let's do credit card debt. That's probably more common. I'm not sure. I'll have to check the numbers on that. Let's say you have $20,000 in credit card debt, okay? And that's at, 20% interest. 20% interest. All right, and this is, 20% is gonna be pretty typical for credit card. Anywhere from 15 to 30% is gonna be credit card. And let's say you have, it doesn't really matter what your income is, but you have $1,000 left over after all of your expenses, including the minimum payments on this. You have $1,000 left over. And your question is, should I take that money and buy investments with it? Should I buy Bitcoin or stocks or bonds or real estate or something, right? Should I buy an investment with it? Because everybody says that investing is a good idea and I need to invest my money. Well, if you have $1,000 a month, that means that at the end of the year, you have $12,000. You have $12,000, right? Of money saved up, right? So think about it this way. And again, this is going to be really simplified math. This is not the true calculation, but let it just stand as an example, an illustration of why you should always do the math when you're making this decision. If you were basically only to make the minimum payments on this, which are basically, where you're just paying the interest, if not a little bit of the principal amount. Over a year, you will lose $4,000. Your net worth will go down, because you will incur an additional debt of $4,000. Again, this is oversimplified math, right? But keeping it simple. If you were, and again, this is if you pay the minimum payment. If you don't pay more of your debt down, then you'll incur this much, right? And this investment, let's say that this investment is like a really good investment, right? A really good investment. And it's 10% annually. That's pretty good on average. Okay? 10%. And again, this is oversimplified math, because if it was 10%, then it'd be the monthly equivalent of an annualized 10% of the 1,000 plus another 1,000 plus compounding interest. But just to keep the math simple, again, for the sake of illustration, you can go and get on a calculator, check the actual numbers, but with these numbers, the outcome will be the same. Let's say you earn 10% on the entire 12,000, which in reality it'll actually be less than that, right? Because you're putting money into it each month. Then you'll make $1,200. So your net worth goes up by $1,200. So all the guru, your father-in-law or whatever told you, well, you need to open an investment account and buy some stocks because you're young, you got to start investing. If you don't start investing now, then you are going to be broke later. Now, while that is a good point, think about it this way. All the money that you put into here made you $1,200. Again, it's actually less than that because of the math, but made you roughly this much in a year, 10%. Whereas instead of paying this down, right, with that money, you paid the minimum payments, it's still at $20,000, and you basically went into debt an additional $4,000. That means that your net worth went down by $2,800. Even though you invested $1,000 a month into a vehicle that earns 10%, which again is pretty good, right? So, what could change this? What could change this? Well, obviously, if this was 40%, if you made 40%, then you would make $4,800, and then it wouldn't be negative, right? Can most people achieve a 40% return consistently? Maybe for a year or two by getting lucky with some investments, but over the long haul, I mean, most hedge fund managers don't get close to that, right? So what if you would have taken the $1,000? Well, let's back it up for a second. In this situation, it doesn't make sense for you to invest money because you have so much debt that's at such a high rate of interest that you'll lose money. Again, if this was 10%, if this was 5%, and you got 10% here at that, it would go up, right? It's all about the net of all the interest that you're either paying or earning. The net percentage cash flow of that determines whether you should pay your debt off or not. So let's back up the example. What if you decide instead of doing this to pay this down, also, if you just pay the minimum payments off here, then it'll go up. Like you'll go into more and more debt if you pay the minimum payment on credit cards. Never pay the minimum payment. Always pay more than that, okay? So you still have that $1,000 coming in after all of your expenses that you can use to invest or pay down debt. If you paid down $1,000 off the debt for an entire year, at the end, you would have $8,000 left, right? You would have $8,000 left in debt, which means that you would have saved in the future $12,000. $12,000 times 20% equals $2,400. $2,400 here. You've literally saved, and again, oversimplified math, just to clarify that again, there's probably going to be some math nerds out there that check me on my stuff, but I just want to make it very clear, this is oversimplified, but it's for the sake of explanation. In reality, the numbers are, give or take a couple $100 either way, okay? Because of compounding interest. You have saved $2,400 of interest in future money, right? Because you now have $12,000 less dollars accruing 20% interest that you will then pay in the future, right? Remember, if we put our $1,000 into the vehicle earning 10%, we would have made $1,200. We've doubled our return by paying down debt in this scenario. And the best part about paying down debt is that you have a guaranteed return of your interest rate. If you went and invested it here, there's no guarantee that you would get 10%. But if you pay down debt at a predetermined interest rate, that is exactly your return that you're making. So in this situation, at this amount, this interest rate versus this much disposable income and whatever, you should pay down your debt. Dave Ramsey is right in this situation, right? But what does that depend on? The interest rate, the amount of the debt, the amount of disposable income, all the variables. It's very simple math. It's just simple arithmetic, right? So, what does this mean? What does this mean exactly? It means that at any given time, the most prudent thing to do that I would recommend, and again, I'm not like some guru, I'm just a guy who loves numbers. I'm just a geek for this stuff, okay? At any given time, it's very prudent to know how much your debt expenses actually are. Because, there are probably some people out there that don't know that. And again, this isn't necessarily, we aren't taught a lot about money in this nation. But I am very motivated to, change that the best that I can to make an impact in the only way I know how, which is with this information, right? So, paying down debt is a risk-free investment, but it always depends on how high is the interest rate relative to what you could earn investing in a business, financial markets, or whatever. Let's say you have, no, I'm not even going to go into it. Any example can be extracted from that. So anyways, hope that you found this content valuable. Again, my name is Duke, and it's been a pleasure speaking with y'all today. If you like this content, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel, because there will be more of it. All right, see ya.